Welcome to Patreon. Chris Upton and Corleone Gun Dogs presents Patreon.
Get on. One of the questions I keep getting asked a lot in private messenger, in email and on YouTube is, why are you not putting up as many films on YouTube as you used to? And like a lot of people know, I did have 5,500 videos on YouTube free of charge for people to learn and watch how I train dogs. It didn't mean you had to follow me. It was your choice. It was free. The reason that we've gone over to Patreon, there's a number of reasons. One of the reasons is we've had so much backlash from the snowflake positive only movement, who tried to promote their dogs in a positive way by saying that everything in training can be done positively. Not all of them are totally nasty and vindictive, but a group of them tried to set up and ruin my business, and I stood up to them and I won the court case against one particular woman in Scotland, and I thought she'd go away, but she's no intention of going away. She's an evil, she's mentally disabled, mentally, she's got mental problems, as simple as that. That's not being rude. We just had a judgment through court, through the appeals court, about freedom of speech, the right to offend. And society says you can't offend, because if you offend somebody and they're upset, that's an offence. But it's not an offence to lie on the internet and slander somebody's business and their life. And so I used to have a massive following, whether it was haters or people who were learning from me, and I got such a mixed bag. And it keeps you afloat and keeps you going when you get letter after letter, comment after comment about, you've changed my life. Me and my dog now have got a partnership with each other, and it's all through your videos. That is important to me. That kept me motivated, because if you saw the amount of hate that we had to cope with, a lot of people would have just walked away from it. But I'm a strong, determined person, and come on in. I'm a strong, determined person, and I won't give in. So I'm going to get to the point why we've gone over to Patreon and why Patreon works. I have some people still coming on YouTube saying, you've sold out, you're now charging people. I gave you 5,500 free videos for over 6 years. Nobody else in the dog training world has done that. I talked about all subjects. I talked about the positives, the negatives, the warts and all, and how to get the best out of your dog. I talk about corruption, I talk about bad practice, and I talk about people misleading people. So that instantly gets me a hate following to a certain extent. I have to accept that. So by going over to Patreon was a decision to make. I could have either gone over and done it half-heartedly, like a lot of people do, put up a few videos every now and again and see if you can bring in some money. When you realise your money's not coming in, your members aren't coming in, then you pack that in because it's just not worth the hassle. But you've not spent out, you've not put any expenditure out there. It's like saying you're a gun dog trainer and you haven't got a business, and you haven't got overheads, and you haven't got bills to pay, taxes to pay. Jack, come here. It's important that people understand the truth about why I went over to Patreon. It's not all about the money. When I went over to Patreon, I had a decision. I could have gone over there and done it half-heartedly, or I could have paid out £1,500 up front and taken a gamble that I want that site to work. I'm not going to waste £1,500. I'm going to make that site work. I'm going to do my best to make it work. Now, if I didn't get the following coming across, that was the gamble. If I didn't get the following coming across from YouTube, because I had 7,000 subscribers on YouTube, I'd built up a following. It was very difficult at first when I was being attacked by everybody, because everybody believed, by watching some idiot's edited video of my videos, that I'd beaten kicked dogs. I can state on here, and I don't want to keep having to repeat myself, but this is to the new people. I've never been prosecuted for any animal cruelty in my life. I train dogs. I've stood up to the madding crowds and the allegations that people have put against me, and I've challenged it. And I've been willing to go to court. We spent money willing to go to court. We weren't willing to take any advice from the RSPCA or the Kennel Club or the courts that I have to be bound over to keep the peace for being aggressive and assertive on the internet. I have a right to tell someone to fuck off and leave me alone if they're trying to ruin my business. I have a right to make their life uncomfortable if they won't leave me alone. I've been investigated by the police and I have not been found guilty of anything. I've been to court and been found not guilty. So this cranky from Scotland can share as many videos of mine as she wants and edit them and slag me off and get away with it, but then play the victim when I go after her to expose her for what she is. A nasty, deceitful, evil woman who's mentally ill and physically ill. And yes, I've tried every approach to deal with this woman, but she's got no desire to want to leave me alone, no matter what. So we made the decision that when my videos got taken down because of copyright strike, not because I took them down, because of a number of copyright strikes, that I made a mistake. I shared somebody's video promoting them, a number of these videos, and Rafa, come here! Jack, come here! Jack is going to get it in a minute. He's going to get it. He's over by the gate there, look, not listening, thinking he knows better, and he's going to get it. The only thing he didn't get it for is because he came back when told. Ask the question why he came back when told. What are you doing, you? Come here. Now, I didn't hurt him, but I tapped him to say, I'm not happy, don't go over there. You said, yeah, but you called him and then you punished him. I didn't really punish him, did I? I just said, stay around me, in dog language. I want you here. I don't want him going off doing his own thing. The confidence comes up. So going back to Patreon, everyone, I put down £1,500 and took a gamble. I was the first dog trainer that I know of to go onto Patreon and start to build a membership on Patreon. It's a safe space, so you don't have to listen to the idiots. The idiots were contacting my friends on my friends list on Facebook and saying, if you're on Chris Upton's Facebook, that means you beat and kick dogs. They are trying to bully people into what they believe. These are so-called positive people that dogs should be allowed to make the choice. You shouldn't be training them or forcing them to do something. They should be able to allow to make that choice, right? You should be able to give them love and affection and treats. And that's all you should be doing. You shouldn't be using discipline. These people are poisonous. They're toxic. They've got nothing better to do. They're not running businesses. They're sitting at home in their armchairs because they're either too fat or too pissed to do anything and get off their arse. And what I've done is concentrated for the last 9 months on my Patreon site, and it's paid off. It's paid off because people have come over, dedicated people who have followed me and got success with their dogs. But a lot of people haven't come over because it's a bit complicated how to join Patreon, they say. Well, I have to join Crowdcast. That's a platform that I load my videos on. And I load that many videos on a daily basis about training that within 2 weeks, if you take up the lowest package of Crowdcast, as a platform to put your videos on to send across to Patreon, it would fill up and you wouldn't be able to put any more on. So what's happened is a lot of dog trainers have got on there and think, he's making money on Patreon. He's talking about making money on Patreon. I'll get on Patreon. Nothing wrong with that. That's a free market, isn't it? People can do what they like. But if they're not willing to pay the full whack to have the premium package, they haven't got the facilities or the storage space to be able to put up 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 videos. So how much is Patreon? Patreon with me is £6 a month. It's £5 you pay me, and by the time admin charges and VAT and tax on it or whatever it is they take off, right, costs you £6. Right, so for £6 a month, what do you get? An access to a platform of videos, and access to a group that you can talk freely and say what you feel without people attacking you. You have a voice. You're not going to get onto one of these gun dog forums where you say something and you get attacked because you have watched my videos and you said, I've watched this guy, and this guy turns dogs into quality working dogs, but he's also had the experience of trialing, and then you get attacked because you're trying to promote me. It's a group of people, like-minded, who will all use the methods that I show you. Doesn't mean you have to use all of them or any of them, but it means they have a desire to follow you and learn. It's a learning platform. It's like going to college. You get the full picture. For £6 a month, that's £60 a year. Some people say they find it difficult to read. I totally understand. Some people find visual is easier to watch, but we don't only do visual, we do debate, we do chat, Corleone chat. It's only for members who are on the Patreon site, but you get access to that if you join Patreon. But what you don't get is the idiots in there that are on the internet just surfing, looking for shit to talk about or rubbish about and pretend they know what they're talking about. I hear it so many times, I just delete it. I don't get into a massive debate with everybody who slags me off. If you continue doing it and I see the videos and you make a false site about me, a group, and try and pretend that I'm putting up videos in the format that you've edited them, then I'm going to come after you. It's as simple as that. And like I said, over the Christmas, there's been a landmark decision that you have the right to offend. You can offend. Now, I have to put up with it because I believe in freedom of speech. I have no backing from the police when someone says, I saw him out with his dog up against a tree and he was shagging it. Right? They can say what they like about me, or he was beating a dog in the field in front of the other dogs. They can say what they like about me, but if I turn around and say anything against them, they get triggered and they get offended. I say tough. Tough. So I have to keep my YouTube site there to let people see what's going on, but no one is forcing anyone to come over to Patreon. But Patreon is a learning group, a learning site that I give out advice, proper advice that other gun dog trainers aren't giving out. Why? And I understand, because they've seen what's happened to me when I've talked about discipline. They don't want to talk about discipline because they don't want the backlash about talking about discipline. And some of them just want to keep it all to themselves and not pass on the skills. They've had to learn what they've learned from other people, but they're not willing to pass on their skills. And then some of them haven't even got the skills, because a lot of them are buying in dogs that you don't know about on a regular basis, doing well in competition, and it's all about the money. So you don't want to be rocking the boat by upsetting a certain majority of the people on the internet. It's all about sales. It's not all about sales. It's about these dogs. It's about these dogs having a great time. It's It's about these dogs having a wonderful life. It's about you not nagging your dog. I have so many people contacting me on a regular basis in Messenger, email, Facebook, asking for advice, instant advice on their dogs. And it's been like that for 6-7 years. That just shows how many people are out there struggling. Why are they struggling? Because people aren't being open and upfront and honest about how we train dogs. The dog training world, the professionals, have got themselves to blame in the gun dog world for not being honest and not standing up for what we do. The Kennel Club have gone out of their way to dictate to us what we can do and how we can train. The Kennel Club should hold their heads in shame. It's as simple as that. Hold their heads in shame.